Hello there. This is the presentation for WordPress North East for the 13th of August 2020. My name is Jon. I am the owner and founder of Advertise1, and with me I have Phoebe Davis, who is the marketing design manager at Advertise1, which is only been recently confirmed this month. So, of course, anyone who knows myself, I was self-employed. I'm converting the company. I'm now getting a team on board, and of course. Especially with the coronavirus and pandemic going on, websites are on the up. And of course, with this presentation today, we're talking about various different content management systems within websites. And Phoebe, I know you've used Squarespace initially before you came on board with Advertise1. So leave it to you. Tell me a bit about what you know already and why you like Squarespace.
Yeah, so I'd kind of practiced a few website builders in the past, but when it came to about January, I decided to make a professional website, as advised by my tutors at uni, to produce a portfolio. So the website they recommended was Squarespace, and I think for what I needed it for, it was great. It's very simple. I'll put it that way. It is very simple, and I think for a portfolio for a student, it's perfect. Um,
Mhm.
I found it really, really easy to use. There's not necessarily many advanced features on it, but um, I do think it's good to use. And um, I mean, I was able to create a website in about 2 days.
Yeah,
So
okay, well, that's understandable. And I remember you saying to me in another conversation that, of course, you rightly just said there, your university tutor said this is the best route to go down, and she said that to the whole class.
yeah,
And I also remember rightly saying that you were, because you were a student, that you also got a offer as well to
yeah,
the
I
normal pricing.
think it was about 50% off,
Yeah,
and
I got
I
down
agreed to remain
50%.
with that. So I mean, that was kind of perfect because I don't think I'll be visiting back to the website after a year. So when that renews, I think I'll just cancel the subscription because since using WordPress, I think it's much better for me. Um, I think Squarespace is perfect for people that just want a portfolio website, or
Hmm.
perhaps people that set up their website as a hobby and they can't necessarily afford to pay for WordPress or Themify. I think it's perfect for just a simple, clean website that doesn't take much maintenance.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, and of course, uh, I know you've definitely got your photo website. Is that the only Squarespace site you've made, or have you made a handful during your time with you?
I've only ever made that portfolio website.
Okay.
Um, I mean the builder is quite similar to WordPress in the sense that you can add in gallery, portfolio, text, anything like that. I think it's just the advanced features that are missing.
Hmm. Yeah, I understand that. And I know you came on board with me as a placement student in April of this year. And one of the very first things that I've done is get you to learn WordPress and tried out various themes. We tried free themes. I showed you about advanced custom fields where I've wrote the code in Bespoke where you can edit. But the most recent one, the one that you're most familiar with, is Themify, which we're not
Yeah.
going to talk about that too much today because that's going to be in another presentation next month. But of course, after using a theme builder, where you've got a lot of um, choice, I would say, and a lot of freedom. I know that you've managed to build a website on that, and I know you said to me that you are happy to compare the two.
Yeah, so the things I like about WordPress straight away is the dashboard. I think it gives you so much more control over your website. I think in general, it gives you so much more control over your website. Um, I think you can make it as simple or as complex as you want for yourself. So
Hmm.
um, the basics are really simple, and in fact, it's probably just as simple as Squarespace. But then if you want to use more advanced features, that's also an option as well.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I really like that. And I think it's also good for people starting out with websites that want to learn more about building websites for themselves,
Hmm.
um, and are willing to do the maintenance for that as well. The dashboard's great because I think it helps you keep track of what's going on your website, anything that needs updating and fixing, and things like that. And that's something that I found that Squarespace was lacking. I mean, they've got a dashboard, but it's not as high in detail as the WordPress one for sure.
Yeah, so how long were you on Squarespace? Then when did you get your Squarespace site? And of course, that was the only one that you knew about, of course, because it was advised by the university.
Yeah, I got, well, my tutor herself had a Squarespace website and she'd used that as examples in the past, but I built mine, I think it was around January time, or it could have
Hmm.
been early February. Um, and to be fair, it's one of them websites that I've made and I've never had to go back to fix anything because it's just there.
Yeah.
Whereas I think with WordPress, and I actually do like this about WordPress, is that it does require updating and maintenance and things like that. I think it helps you keep track of what's going on and um, perhaps doesn't let you neglect your website as much.
Yeah, well, I know with WordPress, as of a couple of days ago, the newest version have allowed automatic updates. And if you kind of know what's going on and have got a bit of knowledge, you rightly said there, uh, like you say, you update stuff yourself, or of course, you can enable automatic updates on the stuff that regularly update, or you know, it's not going to cause harm to your site. Um, One of the biggest things I remember talking to you about. This is where I have this conversation quite often as well. Being like, well, you know, now being a part of the team, Advertise1, we get people constantly coming up, why come to me and not a Wix and Squarespace site? And one of the things I've offered, of course, is build your own rather than me doing it bespokely. I think that was the difference is, right, well, I want to pay so much. You get your space, you get your email address, that sort of thing. Do you get an email address with your Squarespace site, or do you just use your own
I just
email account?
I just use my own.
Yeah, so I think I'm pretty sure you can have your own email, but I know it's an extra
Mm.
cost. Um, I know you said there before the conversation you're gonna like show us a few demonstrations. I'll put the
Yeah,
screen
yeah.
share on for you.
Cool. So this is my Squarespace website, and as you can see, it is really, really simple.
Yeah,
Um, there isn't really much in the way of design. It's just my name, and then
of course.
it's a really easy navigation. It just shows examples of my work, my photography work. There's an about section and a shop section. I did like how the e-commerce could be integrated into it, and that was with the business package.
Yeah,
I've not actually set up my shop, so there's actually nothing there. Um, However, it is actually really simple to do. It's just something I never got around to doing.
of course.
So I think that's maybe a good thing. I suppose for people who want to share a hobby, so maybe people want to sell their artwork, for example,
Mhm.
but not necessarily on a professional basis, I suppose it could be quite a good option for them.
Definitely so.
Um,
And the one thing I know is if you don't know people around you, I can understand how this is a good option where it's like, right, well, uh, it's a lot quicker and simpler to buy your own host and then find another platform.
yeah, and
You've
I
got
think as
people who
well,
can assist, it's a different matter.
yeah, and I think one thing that's worth mentioning is the compatibility with mobile phones is quite good. So I noticed that I made my website and then I went onto it on my mobile phone and they basically redesigned my whole website just so that it's compatible with my phone, which I thought was good because I know with WordPress sites, sometimes you have to go back in and you have to make sure that everything looks good on mobile phones and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, on the other hand, I've got the one that I did for one of your clients called Keith.
Yeah,
And he just wanted a really, really simple website. And there's still fixes that I need to make. So I need to fix the header and I need to include the gallery page and stuff like that. But to give you a bit of an idea of what I've done with this website, um, I've included all the information he wanted. One thing I
hmm,
love is the parallax scrolling in the background, which I didn't actually know how to do on Squarespace. And
hmm.
it was so simple, but I think it just looks more effective. Um, but I think one thing that I do love about WordPress is how much creative control I can have.
Yeah,
But I think it's not just about what the creative control that I can have, but also like like from a client point of view. So if you were giving a client one of these websites and they wanted to make adjustments themselves, they can do that really easily.
yeah,
And I think also from our point of view, that kind of is a weight off our shoulders because if they want something changing, they don't necessarily have to come to us all the time. So if you had 10 different customers all with websites and they all wanted the same changes making. I think sometimes it's easier for us to tell them how they can do that rather than doing it ourselves.
Mm.
It saves time for us, and I think it's also gives them that creative control that they can use. So
Yeah. Okay.
um,
This is quite good, and of course, with WordPress, of course, the people in the room are very familiar with the dashboard of WordPress. Of course, this is
yeah,
WordPress North East. Will you be happy to give short, quick demonstration of the login of SquareSpace? Like, so
yeah,
what it looks like when you log in and the panel within, so we can compare the different similarities. Because even myself, it's been about a year since I've looked at it, and I can imagine it's changed since then.
yeah. I'll just get it loaded up.
Yeah, that's not a problem. And also, while you're doing that, can you add multiple usernames to Squarespace, or you only just got the one per account?
I'm not entirely sure. I know you can, if you're a user on Squarespace, you can add various different websites to your user.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting
Um,
to know. And of course, I'll be happy to have a look at that. But of course, you were just saying there about clients. You could have a username for yourself and a username for the client to update stuff. And using permissions, as you just rightly said there, you're not sure. It may be a thing, it may not be. And I think that
yeah.
is kind of one of the things that if you're only doing it for yourself, that's absolutely fine. But if you're working with someone else, then of course I think multiple usernames is something that is quite beneficial.
Hmm.
It is
Right,
something I'll
so
have a look at
I'll show
myself.
you the dash. So obviously the difference in the dashboards.
Yeah.
I think straight away you can kind of see the difference because obviously if you're familiar with the WordPress dashboard,
Hmm.
I think everyone will be. Um, there's so much you can change and there's so much
Of
to look at.
course.
And I think if you look at it compared to the Squarespace dashboard, this is the dashboard. Um,
Yeah, so if you can go to edit site, because
yeah.
of course, like you got the
Um,
paid
and
site.
this is what I mean about it being simple. But I think for beginners, it has everything on here. So you've got page design, commerce.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm not saying it's not good. It is good, but I think if you're looking to make a more advanced website, I don't think Squarespace is the one for you. Um,
No.
it was so simple to make. Like I said, I think it took me about a day and a half to create my website using this.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of the things that even my own opinion. I have used WordPress for a while, and happy for you to disagree on this. If you're just trying to get your head around how you build website with your pages, your blog posts, your shop, this is where I see like Wix and Squarespace. You just learn it for the first time. It's not bad, and I've seen a lot of people in the past that has gone to Wix and Squarespace and they maybe stayed there 12 months. And kind of what you just said, you're going
Yeah,
to not bother renewing when you get to the end of the 12, just sort of get the head round, just sort of like the fundamentals of web design development using a content manager. And then they realize that um, when they learn more and more, great, simple stuff is
mm,
fine. But then when they want to go down another route, they realise that limited or they just don't have someone to go to for help, or if they ask someone to help, they'll turn even I'll turn around and say there's only so much you can do when it comes to bespoke development on a Wix and Squarespace site. For example, you want to integrate a third party tool, or you've just said about parallax images there. I remember I've had one with Squarespace of changing the color design of three boxes in columns, and I had to like code it in through CSS to get these colors to change and
yeah,
by the ID. But the minute the ID changed, all the CSS went with it. So it wasn't very stable in that sort of stuff. And that's just one of the examples that I can think of. And there may be people on this call who also think of other examples as well. That's been great that you've shown back end of Squarespace because, of course, unless they're looking at screenshots, it's quite a good demo and the comparisons between the two. Can you think anything else that you want to add to that?
I'm not sure really. I mean, I think I wouldn't say that either website builder is better than the other. I think it just depends on the person that's using it really, because I think Squarespace is great for someone that's starting off building websites and they want to get some experience, or maybe if
Mm,
people are working freelance and they just want something to show the products or sell the products. With everything that's integrated into it, it's really, really simple to use. So I definitely wouldn't discredit that. But I think for people wanting to learn how to build websites properly, and perhaps businesses that want more advanced features and more creative control, I definitely think WordPress is the best way to go.
Yeah, I fully agree on that sort of level. I know we've got speakers in today who have just spoke before you, who's talked about Liverpool in October, which I know from experience is great when they're being coded, but of course it is coding them, and you would have heard from your speakers today about that. And of course, we've got the speaker as well coming up who's talking about WordPress. Fully. Of course, this is pre-recorded earlier on today, so I'm just presuming that everyone is speaking as normal. And if I've said anything wrong, I do apologise now. Thank you very much for that, Phoebe. Phoebe is gonna be around like tomorrow to answer any questions. You can use the email Phoebe at advertise1.uk. Or you can email myself, hello at advertise1.uk, or I'm going to be around all evening anyways. I'm happy to answer any questions. If I don't know them, I'm happy to pass them to Phoebe. And I'm going to say, you're on LinkedIn now. I know you've said that. And like I said, yep, any questions, ask away. And if I don't know them, I will get back to you and put them on the WordPress North East meetup group. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think I'm sorted.
I think we're good. So, of course, enjoy the rest of the evening. And of course, we'll find out near the end what is everyone's favourite choice. I presume, of course, this is WordPress Northeast and everyone's is WordPress, but it's interesting to see who's used other stuff. And as we've actually just said there, people have got different purposes and reasons for using others, and that's fine, and that's something I'll be interested to see in the after presentations discussions for anyone that's sticking around. So yeah, thank you very much, Phoebe.
Thank you very much.